Welcome to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, America's #1 podcast for new real estate investors, where we know that the most proven path to financial freedom is by finding discounted property. I am your host, Brent Daniels, Mr. Talk to People, Mr. TTP, and I am telling you, if I can do this, then so can you. So let's get started. We are going all the way to the city of Baltimore to have an incredible conversation with a woman that in her first 3.5 years has done 100 deals. 100 deals. I am so happy and so proud to bring on to this Wholesaling Inc. podcast, Miss Jasmin Gittens. Say hello.
Hi, hello everyone. How are you guys? Thank you so much, Brent, for having me. I'm super excited to be here with you today.
Well, I'm excited to have you on here. I mean, 100 deals,
yes.
3.5 years. I mean, that is a huge milestone for anybody, but just starting from doing nothing 3.5 years ago to now you're in 3 different markets, right?
Yes.
You're helping out people to learn how to do virtual wholesaling. Yes. You are doing meetup groups in Baltimore. Yes. I mean, you are really a shining light in this industry, and I want to know more about it. I want to know, like, did you always have this kind of real estate spirit, this kind of entrepreneurial spirit?
Yeah, so I definitely always had an entrepreneurial spirit. Like I, sitting at the desk, it just was never for me. There's always like this itch of like, there has to be something more. This cannot be it, right? And even going to college, I did not know what I wanted to do. I was just like, journalism, that sounds good, right? So I just chose that, and thankfully it helped me a bit with just communicating, but came out of that, really wasn't able to find much in that field, and real estate found me, right? So I knew I wanted more. I knew there was more out there for me. So I ended up getting a job in New York on Wall Street for a company, and I was actually the senior marketing manager there, putting on real estate events nationwide for investors, right?
What?
So yeah, so I'm traveling to like different cities. We had a newspaper educating investors on, what's happening in this market, in this market, in this sector, in this sector. And I was on the back side of the table, right? I'm signing people in, and I'm looking at all these, major investors coming in, and I'm saying, hold on, like, I want to be on that side, right? I want to be the one signing in, getting my badge, right? So, it just so happened that, I was laid off that job a few days after announcing my pregnancy. So what do you do? What do you do, right?
So that was the push, right? I mean, that is the spark that got you in. And well, not only that, but you had some experience, right? And was this a sales position, right? You said marketing.
It was a marketing position. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
But they kind of go hand in hand, sales and marketing.
Of course. So you have some experience. You know how to speak the language a little bit, at least in some of the real estate terminology. So you weren't coming totally green into it, right? And then what do you do? What do you do? Do they give you a package and they're like, here's a few months of severance and now that's your runway, or like what happened?
I just had unemployment for a few months. So that was it. They laid myself off and one other lady. That was it. She was the oldest lady there. She had been there for years. So I think they just were covering their butts. But either way, that gave, I was like, okay, I had been wanting to get into real estate. I had been itching, just an itch. But again, my perspective, I need a lot of money. I need this, I need that, right? I can't do this. So sitting at home, pregnant, unemployed, looking at, ways to get into real estate. And I came across wholesaling. I'm like, oh, hold on. What's going on here? Right. So I'm the type of person that's like, once I get into something, I'm going to like dive all the way in and take action. So I literally was watching YouTube University, right? Watching Wholesaling Inc., right? Like every single freaking podcast.
Maxwell, you just did an incredible interview with him. I mean, just an incredible channel to get everybody, to get the juices flowing. I mean, all these, really great places to find the actual instruction. You're like, oh, okay. So then what'd you do? You started piecing it all together?
Yeah, so I started piecing it together a bit. So I knew at the end of the day I needed to talk to people, right? It always comes down to that. So
Yes.
so I started making some cold calls. I had gotten a list of probate. I actually went down to the courthouse, got a list of probate, making some calls, and I ended up getting my first deal. It was crazy. And then after getting my first deal, I was like, okay, now I need to like fine tune this. How can I, get this consistently? How can I, ramp this thing up a bit? So that's when I actually signed up with your program, TTP. Shout out to you, really, really helped me understand like the need again, just to talk to people, because I was starting to, I knew I had to talk to people, but I was also getting in that space of like wanting the inbound calls, right? So I'm like, oh, let me do some Google PPC. And I'm like, I don't even really have the money to be doing this you know what I mean? So when I got your program, I was actually being coached by you and Brandon Simmons at the same time. And I put those two things together and.
Oh, that's right. I totally remember. Yes. Incredible. Yeah. And listen, you know what? That's really interesting, because you went out and you were like, you know what? I am going to skip to the head of the line, right?
Yep.
I'm not messing around. I'm going to go and I'm going to get a coach. I'm going to get 2 coaches. I'm going to make sure that I've got everything covered. And I'm going to I don't want to learn it. I just want to be told what to do. I want the instructions so that I can just go out. And you did. You did. You were out. I mean, you went off.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just you were not to be stopped, and those terms are kind of whatever, kind of glazing over the real efforts that you were putting in there. But you were getting your lists, you were calling, you were meeting with these sellers, you were building your business, you were working it, you were working all 3 parts, right? There's 3 parts of the wholesaling business. For everybody that's listening to the first time and you're interested in this, don't overcomplicate it. There's lead generation. There's conversion. That means you get a lead, you convert that to a signed contract, and then there's exit strategy or disposition. That's where you sell and make the money. There's only 3 parts.
Yes.
And you went bananas with it. You went absolutely, and you just took off, and it was just, and you still are. So
yes.
So is that just inside you? Are you one of those, A-type, driver-type personalities?
Yeah. I think I'm like driver, like let's get done, right? And I take instruction very well. I'm coachable, right? And now I'm coaching and still coachable at the same time. But with that being said, I was doing 3 hours of calls, period, 10 to 1. That was the time I had available. I literally shut the door, and that was it. Right. Because I was finding that the consistency was a huge problem for me in the beginning. I was making calls, but then once I got, I realized how important the consistency was. 10 to 1, that's it. Making my calls, and things started rolling. The momentum started building, and the deal started flowing in. And I haven't looked back since.
Let me ask you this, and this is a little bit off topic on your wholesaling business, and I'll bring it back to it. But I think that a lot of people listening and watching this, there's something about seeing people on these interviews. There's something about hearing somebody. There's something about seeing just YouTube or meetup groups or people at the front of the room where you say to yourself, I want to do that. I want to be, like you were saying, like the other side with the investors with the name badges. Like, I want to do that. I mean, did you have that, like, as soon as you started, you're like, you know what? I'm going to crush this thing. I want to be able to lead.
Yeah. I mean, literally, I know my purpose. Even prior to getting into, real estate or anything, I knew, and I don't think I actually found that I understood my purpose, but I knew there was something like, I loved being in front of people, talking to people, and I love inspiring people. I have this personality where people love talking to me and they get really pumped up and like, yeah, let's do this, right? So, just being able to inspire people. So when I started to do that, that's when I realized how, by me doing this, my family, friends seeing me, I was starting to inspire people to be, great. So that was awesome.
The best thing that isn't often understood about this is when you are loud which I encourage everybody listening and watching. By the way, if you're just listening to this on the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, make sure you put a face to a voice and check this out on Brent Daniels' YouTube channel. I feel like there's just a stronger connection when you can see it. But what I'm saying is, and I encourage everybody, be as loud as possible. I don't care if it's just doing stories when you're driving for dollars, or when you're making calls, or before you're going on an appointment and saying that you're nervous. Be real. You don't have to be Jasmin. You don't have to be me. You don't have to be Max Maxwell. You don't have to be Tom Kroll. You just need to be you. But if you are loud, opportunities are going to come your way. And when that happens, and Jasmin, you can tell me if this is true in your world, in your life, but when you are teaching something, when people are coming to you for advice, when people are looking for guidance or inspiration, it makes your own business better. Yes. Oh my gosh, you are on it. You are so in it. You're like obsessed with it. You want to show them by actually doing the business and not just standing up there talking about theory. It takes your business to a whole nother level. Am I right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this was something, and I don't even know where this concept came from, but I started doing meetups when I was in Jersey. When I first started, I was brand new hosting meetup events, right? And for me, it was like, let me bring in the buyers, let me start building my network, right? And create myself as an expertise in the area of sorts, sure. Right? Even though I was brand new, right? But just by the fact that I was hosting it, people want to talk to you, connect with you. And it just so happened, people started asking me questions. How do you do this? How do you do that? Can you show me how to do this? And I'm like, oh, okay, this is, that opened up a whole new world.
Yep.
And that's where I kind of found the passion in the teaching and the mentorship. The wholesaling, I love it. But the passion was in the teaching and the mentorship.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, I think a lot of people that watch this or listen to this, they have that too. You know what I mean? They have that kind of little seed that's been sitting in their brain for a long time, whether, they did something when they were younger and it gave them a lot of support and a lot of recognition, or maybe they were athletes, or maybe they've been, public speakers or whatever else. I mean, mm-hmm. Anybody that has that inside them, you can feed that. Yes. Just be loud. We have these things right here, these phones that you can literally talk to billions of people with. I mean, it doesn't get that far typically, but you can talk to a lot of people. You can share a lot. And listen, when it comes to just starting out and building it up, just be honest and just let people in on your journey. I mean, that's how this whole Wholesaling Inc. podcast, the top podcast in this space, became, is because Tom Kroll was interviewed by his older brother to do his first deal, right? That's how it all started. And from there, it just blossoms. And listen, it doesn't have to be a podcast or YouTube or anything like that. You could be the number one in your city, in your town, in your market, that people are bringing deals to and sharing it with them because they know that you're going to help them out and you're going to give them a fair deal. So I always, it is under talked about, but people need to be loud. And I love and respect what you're doing out there, Jasmin, because you're really making a difference. And I think that that's so important. And I think putting yourself in a position of leadership will always pull your productivity for deals up. It always will, and it opens up opportunities for other things, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we executed on that our first year. I made a little over $100,000 with just talking to people, right? Getting out there. Cold calling has and remains our number one marketing strategy, hands down. So we just keep pushing with that. You find what works. And we perfected that, and it was an amazing first year. I mean, we like I said, made a little over 100, and wrote my husband's 2-week letter for him to leave his 9 to 5. He used to work on the turnpike, hundreds and thousands of cars passing him every day, super dangerous. So I was so thankful to be able to pull him out of that, and we've just been going ever since with it.
You guys work together?
Yes.
How does that work? Who does what?
Yeah, so in the beginning, so I'm the one that's on the phone, right? So I was busting out those calls. And initially, when we first started, we were doing local wholesaling, right? So meaning, traditional wholesaling, going to meet the sellers. So I was home, making on the calls, and my husband would be the closer. He'd go to the house, close that thing out. He did it so well. So that was how our team worked. And then when it came to marketing the deal and showing the properties and stuff, it would be a little bit of both of us. But I made the initial contact, and he went out and closed those bad boys out.
Incredible. Yeah.
And then once we transitioned to virtual wholesaling, so now we don't go to any homes. We're doing everything from the comfort of our home now. At this point, we have a team. So we have a team of virtual assistants. They're making the initial call for us, and then we have our sales acquisitions who come in and close the deal.
So let's break this down, because before we got live here or recording here, you're in Maryland, North Carolina, New Jersey, right?
Yes, those are the 3 markets we wholesale in.
Okay, yep. And you mentioned that you have callers now. Yes. Are these where did you find them? Where did they live?
So I got them through my outdesk. So they're in the Philippines. So we just use my outdesk to hire them.
myoutdesk.com. Interesting. And how many do you have?
We have 2. We have 2 callers now.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. And then are they full time? I mean, are they full time? 80 hours a week total?
8 hours a day. And they're making about 1,100 to 1,200 calls a day.
Yep.
Yeah. So they're busting that out, and then they're just we following the blueprint, right? So if they want to sell in the next 90 days, that goes to our sales acquisition, who runs the numbers and makes the offers. So of course, with this being virtual, with us not going out to, their house, it's a little bit, the way we're making our offers is a little bit different, in the sense that we are looking at the MLS or PropStream and finding what cash buyers have recently purchased in that specific area, and we're getting it below that price. So we're confident when we make our offers that buyers are already buying cash deals at a specific price. So we just make sure we come in below that, so we can get those deals sold super fast.
And so you pulled that list from PropStream?
We actually have MLS access in each of our markets,
got it.
As unlicensed assistants, but you can use PropStream as well. If you don't have that MLS access, which definitely we can show you how to do that, but you can use PropStream. They actually show you right on PropStream if it was a cash deal or not. So you can go right on there, look around the area in the last 90 days or so, see what cash buyers are paying for properties, in about a mile, and make offers about 10,000, 15,000 below that.
You know what I've been doing? This is interesting, Jasmin. So I've been doing the exact same thing, right? Yeah. I've got MLS access here, but I just like the way that PropStream kind of formats it. It's got those top little boxes and you click on it. So I go into a specific zip code on any deals that we get. I look at them, and then I go, okay, this is a cash purchase, but I wonder if this was a wholesale deal, right? Mm-hmm. So I add 20 grand to what they bought it for, right? Because that's the average assignment fee here in Phoenix. Right. Because the assignment fees don't show up, only the purchase price that's on the contract shows up in PropStream. Right. So I'm constantly pushing up the values, and that's why we average $28,000 a deal here in Phoenix. So it's just a couple different. We're collaborating here, everybody.
Exactly. On a couple different, like I'm going to take this back, right on the notepad for sure.
Yeah. So, okay. So you've got your team, they're calling, they're doing it. How do you find acquisition managers that are they on the ground? Are they in North Carolina?
Everybody's virtual. Everybody's virtual. So I found them on Indeed. So we actually, we put an ad out for our acquisitions. We interviewed a bunch of people just to find the right perfect person. So we have 2 acquisitions managers. And one here in Maryland and one in New York. Again, virtual. They're just on the phone when the leads come in. They know they get a notification and they have to make the call immediately and make that offer right away.
Wait, so you're telling me, Jasmin, that by just your phone, you're able to lock up deals at discounts in other states and never have to go and set foot in those properties.
Never step foot in the property. I mean, I'm 900 miles away, okay? There's no way I'm going to see the property.
Not only that, but I mean, talk about the perfect business for the pandemic that we're dealing with. You know what I mean?
Perfect. It was
I mean,
perfect.
everybody's safe, everybody's doing, I mean, it's just absolutely phenomenal. Now, obviously, you need to be able to, get accurate photos and understand the condition of the property and be able to do all that. But I'm sure you've already set up a process for all that.
Yeah, so we do in every market that we go into. One of the first thing we do is build what we call our perfect starter team. So that's our realtor, our title company, and our contractor. And that helps us with just that, right? So we establish relationships with our realtor. They'll go out and they get pictures for us. They'll show the properties for us. So we've established great relationships with them because what we do in exchange, of course, everything has to be a win-win situation, right? My team is making 1,200 calls a day, right? And we're trying to look for wholesale deals. And a lot of those people that do want to sell, they don't want to sell, they want to sell retail. So when we first started, we were just hanging up the phone on them, like not on them, but we couldn't offer them, right? So now we offer for our partnered agent to go out and for a listing appointment. So that's the relationship that we created, and they are more than happy to go out and take some pictures for us because we're sending them listing appointments pretty much every day.
Absolutely incredible. And what, the beautiful thing here is when you're calling these people and they want retail, you don't have to throw them in the trash. Yes. You're referring them to your preferred partner, yes, who is also hooking you up on the back end. See, this is an interesting thing because, sometimes, listen, if you have a license, you can get a referral fee and the whole thing and do that, or you can build a relationship with agents that will bend over backwards for you on all of these deals that you got to get in front. I mean, you got to get people into, or you need some sort of representation at the house, whether it be their cash buyers or the seller or whatever. They're willing to do that because you're giving them so much business on the other side. So listen, don't just throw these opportunities away. If it's a retail lead, if you have a license, get a referral fee. If you don't, build that relationship, help them. Remember, you can get everything you want if you can help them get what they want. I mean, that's a Zig Ziglar thing that he's been saying forever.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is like, this is marketing. We're actually marketing so we get we have a marketing agreement with these realtors, right? Because we're actually qualifying these leads for them, right? Setting them up on listing appointments. So we establish a marketing relationship with them.
I love it. I love it. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. And it's great. Listen, and the thing about it, like, right, about us being problem solvers, right? So it's like, I hated the fact that, we were hanging up the phone with so many people and not helping them with their problem, right? So now we're actually able to help. We're actually able to offer a solution, which in turn helps them, and in turn helps us as well.
I love it. I love it. So let's time travel for a second.
Yeah.
You're growing up.
Yep.
You're in high school.
Yes.
What'd you want to be?
So in high school, I really didn't know. I was like, I had no idea. I was just like, what am I gonna do? I did not know. Like I told you, going into college, I literally had no idea what I wanted to do. My mother was like, oh, maybe journalism, maybe. I'm like, yeah, like, let's go for it. I did not have a burning passion at that time. I just didn't. So I went in for journalism and got my degree, was just working, didn't really have a real passion of any sort. It was just kind of going with the punches, right? And yeah, once I got that job and I realized that was when that itch of real estate started to crawl, And actually, I'll take that back, because so a few years prior to getting that job, I was an agent for 3 years. So I was an agent, right? But I did not like that.
No.
Total different ball game. I'm
totally different.
Hours showing this house and this house. They don't like the color of this paint, and I couldn't do it. So I had to get out of that. And that didn't really show me much about the investing side. It didn't bring that to me. It wasn't until I got that job that really showed me the investor side of it all.
Awesome. So we went back in time in our time machine. Now let's go forward.
Yes.
Let's go forward 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, yes.
Let's you're on a rocket ship. You're doing your business is going bananas.
Yeah.
You're having I mean, are you seeing yourself as owning property, owning a lot of property and having a portfolio? Are you seeing yourself as building up an account and being a private lender? Do you see yourself being a developer? What does that look like now? Let's inspire.
So in 10 years, it's going to be actually a combination of those. So right now, so one of the things, of course, I want to continue growing our educational platform. I mean, we're helping hundreds of people right now with, getting into virtual wholesaling. So I want that to be huge because, again, that's the passion part, right? In January, we're actually going to Rwanda. We're going to be developing affordable housing in Rwanda. So I want that to be, I want to be like the Ryan Homes of Rwanda, where you're coming to us, we're building those affordable homes, and our names, right? So that's that. We already have been started building our portfolio. We've been flipping houses. We've bought some rentals. So of course we want to continue that, but more so we want to transition. In 10 years we're transitioning. We're not doing the flips anymore right now. At this point, what we're looking to do is we want to purchase some mobile home parks. So we're going to be that will be like our passive income coming in. And of course, we definitely want to do some lending as well. So you actually touched on it all. We want to be doing all of that, and we're planning to move to North Carolina in maybe the next 2 years, where we're planning to get a nice plot of land where we're going to be building a nice community there. So
yes. That's incredible. Well, I just want to make sure that before we give out your details on people reaching out to you, I wanted to make sure that we gave this thing a ring. I mean, 100 deals, 3.5 years, $100,000 in her first year, starting completely out there. Not only starting, 2 days. I mean, you were pregnant. You were pregnant. You were having a baby, and now you got 2 in that time span. So, I mean, come on.
Yes, I got the bell. I love it.
So listen, it's just incredible. You've got 2 boys under 3 years old and now 10 months, right?
Yep.
You've got your husband working in the business. You've employed 2 people in the Philippines. You've got people that are doing your acquisition and your disposition. You've got agents that you're partnered with. I mean, what a difference 3.5 years makes, right? I mean, this business, you can do this. You don't have to struggle for the next 3-5 years. Get the instruction that you need right now so you can skip ahead of all that and really just focus on the actions that are going to actually get you paid, the income producing activities that are going to really make the difference in your financial life.
Absolutely.
So how do people find you? How do people communicate with you? How do people congratulate you or be around you or learn more about you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, Jasmin Gittens, JazmineGittens. You can reach out, if you're interested in learning about virtual wholesaling. I'd love to help you, and any investors or any other wholesalers love connecting. So please reach out to me.
Send you a DM.
Yes, send me a DM.
Send her a DM. Anybody, listen, if you're inspired by this, if you're in the area, if you want to squat up, if you want to learn more, definitely reach out to Jasmin. She has an unbelievable heart for this business, and she'll certainly be able to help out any way that she can. So thank you for being on here. We mentioned a couple different things. If you don't have MLS access, definitely check out PropStream at ttpdata.com, ttpdata.com. You got to try that out for 7 days. It's definitely worth the trial. And if you feel it, go for it. And if you are wanting to join the most proactive group in real estate investing, it is the TTP family. Go to wholesalinginc.com/TTP, wholesalinginc.com/TTP. Check it out. Scroll down. If it feels good in your gut, sign up for a call. We look forward to speaking with you and me working with you personally. Jasmin, thank you so much for being on here. You're absolutely incredible. And I am excited to watch the path that you're leading. So absolutely phenomenal. Everybody out there, I close out the show as I always do, encouraging you to talk to people. Until next time, guys, love you. See ya.